Mike had an interesting conversation about you guys clinching last year. We wanted to play the clip, and I want to ask you on the other side. So, Brad, you got the clip?
Yeah. So the clip here basically talks about a fond memory that Mike had that involved you and a lot of the other veteran players, and in particular when it came to celebrating playoff berth. So wanted to kind of get your take on this. So take a listen.
And halfway because of you talking about the playoffs and popping bottles, but also you just bringing up McCann, Fraser, and Gibson. And the story is, this is one of my favorite memories, or at least it pops in my mind. We had the game against the Rays, where it was a potential clinch game. And we had not, I think we were probably like 2.5 back or something at the time. I don't remember, but we were going for the division, 1.5 back. I think it might have been pretty close. And we weren't in a position to clinch division, but we were in a position to clinch like the 3rd wild card or whatever, but we hadn't made the playoffs yet. So it's kind of a big deal of coming out of a rebuild. So we had a meeting in Brandon's office before the game. Like, what are we going to do to celebrate? Are we going to do anything? Are we going to do nothing? Are we going to do something in between? We had a big meeting about it with McCann and Kyle Gibson. And we sort of landed on, because McCann had been with the Mets the year before, and they were going for their division. They won, they clinched the wild card. They skipped the celebration because that wasn't their real goal.
Right.
And then they ended up sort of collapsing the rest of the way, and they never celebrated.
Yeah.
He was like, that kind of stunk. I don't know if we want to do nothing, but you definitely don't want to act like you're spiking the football when you're haven't won the division yet, or at least that's what I was saying. Yeah. Brandon was kind of saying the same thing. So we didn't really know what to do. We landed on, if we won the game, we were just going to do kind of a subdued little toast and not a blowout celebration. And so that was how the meeting was wrapping up. Adam Fraser is walking by, wanders into Brandon's office, and he's like, "What's the plan?" And we told him, and I'll clean up the language a little bit, but
you don't have to, but you can do whatever you want.
He was like, "Forget that. We're celebrating if we clinch the playoffs." Anyway, I was like, okay, this guy seems like he knows what he's talking about, but we'll see what happens. As it turned out, he has an incredible historic base hit, the double down the line. It ended up being a wild walk-off, with Mullins walking it off, and it was just and so it was a blowout celebration in there, and it was just really organic. And obviously it was a huge moment for all of us that had done the whole rebuild and been a part of it.
Okay, so could you care to touch on that, James? What was there other words for Adam Fraser? Is that how you remembered it going, or?
It's pretty darn close. There definitely was some different language used.
I see that.
But no, Gibby and I were talking to Skip and Mike, and it was, we want to celebrate, but we still have, I think at that point there's 10 days left in the season, something like that. So the last thing, the way that Gibby's in my mind worked was the last thing we wanted to do was celebrate making the playoffs, have a 3-day hangover, and next thing you know, we're looking up at the Rays in the standings, and we miss out on the division title.
Right.
So we were kind of stuck on, celebrating, but trying to make sure that no one went too hard, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And then Fraser walks in and is like, "Nah, forget that. Who cares? We're going for it. And if we go hard, then we're going to be grown men and show up tomorrow and play." And it's like, all right. And, I don't want to say that we were 100% on board to fully blow it out. I want to say that we were more on the fence about just kind of taking care. The guys in this clubhouse hadn't done it before, so we didn't want them to. Like I said, we just didn't want that 3-game, 4-game hangover that could potentially happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that the game went down, like Mike said, with the unbelievable at bat from Fraser, and then the walk-off win, and it was against the Rays. It was like, nah, we're going for it. It just made sense.
The stars aligned. It really did.
Right.
Screw it, and then you guys continue to battle. There was no hangover there. There might have been a physical hangover for some players, but it didn't show necessarily on the field. Yeah, well, there's that. Adley has a great meme out there.
Well, that was
the next one.
we made sure we blew that one out.
And you should. I mean, you just talked about it. Winning's so damn hard, and I think that's the part that people forget. Of you put so much time and effort into everything, and you're going to go through the ups and downs of the season constantly, and you're going to struggle. And that's what people talk about, struggling all the time nowadays. Where I try to tell people, hey, it's a marathon. You can't look at what you've done after the first 40. You got to see what's going to be happening when you got the last 40. All you got to hope is that you're in the hunt. You said it's more fun to play when you're playing for something, but you got to ride out the bad times. You guys have earned that.